again.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Reverbium podcast. As Shaun in the background searches up not Donald Trump, fucking Boris Johnson.
The other one.
They're both the fucking same. Boris Johnson memes, so he can call him a fat neek. And
I'm not looking at the memes, Jesus.
Oh, tweets. Sorry, my apologies.
I'm making my own meme.
You're making your own meme. He's making his own memes. My name's Jimmy. That's Shaun. And today on
welcome to the Fat Neek podcast.
The Fat Neek podcast, another excellent episode of the Fat Neek podcast. We're going to be discussing the English media. More specifically, footballers in the English media. Even more specifically, English footballers in the media. So, we'll start off with a little bit of context behind this. There are many cases throughout the years, even before we were born, most likely, where the English media seems to have something out for English players. Specifically, more recently, the younger English players. You get your Jadon Sanchos, your Mason Greenwoods, Raheem Sterlings, all of that. What prompted us to sort of go ahead with this one today was more so what's been coming out about Mason Greenwood in the media, about all of these things that he's not showing up for Manchester United training, or he's late, that he's causing trouble behind the scenes. And you know, sometimes you can't always say, oh, they're wrong. They might be right. But then in this case, Rio Ferdinand said on Twitter, confronted, I think it was the Daily Mail, and basically straight up said, oh, where are your sources for this? What sources have you got from this? So, and a lot of people like Solskjaer and stuff have said he's fine. There's nothing wrong there. That's not to say he hasn't done bad things, but it's all stemmed from that one night in Iceland. I think it was Iceland. Did they go to Iceland? It was Iceland, yeah.
Yeah, Iceland, because it was a Nations League game.
So it all stemmed from that. Ever since that, which he admittedly made mistakes at and got rightly punished for it, as did Phil Foden, who's another one who can be added to this list. But, you know, where's too far for our English? Why do they not want us to succeed on an international level? What do you think, Shaun?
The thing is, they know it gets clicks, isn't it? That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they know that as British people, we love to hate people. I think you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, when you look at everything, anything that ever gets posted, probably a quarter of the replies are positive ones. Everything else, even if it's a joke or not, or something, but obviously a lot of them aren't. It's just negative towards it. I think just they feed on our desire to hate on other people,
right?
Which seems to be the case.
Yeah. Let's just we'll talk more about some other examples. Raheem Sterling, when he got the gun tattoo on his leg. Do you remember that? And all of these media outlets were making it out like he was a gun fanatic or something like that. And apparently he got it because his dad was killed with that same assault rifle or something that he's got on his leg. But still, people were like, "Oh, he's a hooligan. He's this. He's that." And you know, it's just why do we think that way, Shaun? Why do you think we think that way of all these, why do we hate people? Why do we inherently talk bad about people? Or more specifically, why do you think the media does it? Or if you want to be specific, why do you think did they do it for the cases of Sancho or Sterling or Greenwood?
Without wanting to go too into it, at the end of the day, I think you can't deny the fact that there is some racism in there.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
because if you look at it, there's direct comparisons that you can make between almost identical situations where you have a white player and a black player that have done the exact same thing, and how they're treated is completely different.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Foden. I mean, he's got the shit for what he did, but he's not the one making the headlines now. It's Mason Greenwood. It's Greenwood's this, Greenwood's bad, Greenwood's he's murdered someone, and maybe he did do that. I don't know. All of that, the news that was going around that Premier League footballer was arrested for kidnapping, and everyone's assuming it's Greenwood. No one knows.
No one. It's the case that no one, no name was ever given by anybody, and then just a group of people just automatically jumped on this one person out of nowhere and said it must be him. And it's like, you have one, if a name hasn't been said, where have you pulled that from? But two, why that person? There's so many people it could have been. It could have been absolutely anyone.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's very strange how it's targeted to that one person.
Yeah, I agree. Try and sit here and think of other examples. It's not just young people in the media. It's, you know, any football usually happens around big tournaments as well, where I think we can all agree that the English football team isn't as good as everyone makes it out to be, and people are starting to realise that, or have realised it, but just were trying to avoid it. But before every tournament, there's always this negativity, like, we don't think the English media, English footballers will be able to do anything this year, blah blah blah. And it really, like, maybe they weren't, but now you said all this, now the media's vilifying all these players and starting all of this shit. Now they probably won't. No, because you've lowered their confidence, you've knocked them down. You know, they might be at the top of their game, but like, you never know. Let me think. Dele Alli, he got a lot of shit in the media, and right, he's probably not the player he was a couple years ago or a year ago or whatever. Does he even play now? I don't even know. But like, it's just situations that cause so many issues, and a lot of it is potentially racially infused.
And I think it's quite, a lot of people will argue that no, they're not, it can't be, you're making this up. What's the new phrase that people like, just virtue signaling? They'll say it's just virtue signaling, you pick it out, but it's so clear to me that that's the only thing it can be, especially recently. So take the Rashford situation, where he's pushing all this work for feeding children, doing all this charity work, yet the articles that are coming out about him are still negative and going, but he's bought this house.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, if you look back to David Beckham, there was all the news for him was he should be knighted for his work, for his charity work.
Yeah.
Nothing of it. And he spent way more money than Rashford would have by now, or by that point. He obviously moved out to another country. It's all this stuff that, yes, he's in exactly the same position where he started from humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Before he had all the stardom, and then obviously went on to spend the money. But people will argue it's a case of like, but by that point, David Beckham was this world star. He proved himself football and everything. Rashford's still young, blah blah. But it's irrelevant. Because
go on. Finish it.
The point is that they both have done this. You can't take away either of those efforts. Like, I'm not saying that Beckham doesn't deserve it or anything like that. It's just that two people who, when you look at it, have taken very similar paths, who have both started from having very little, have got the money, and then are wanting to do something good with the status they have.
Yeah. Well, we don't want
to portrayed very differently.
Yeah, we don't want to outright say, it's all racism, all this. We don't know. We're not going to point fingers and accuse anyone.
It's just very suspicious on how how different people get reported
Yeah,
on in the media.
as I've got a even more current one as well, and I want to go back and explain the big article that we were referring to about the housing situation with Marcus Rashford was, I'm pretty sure it was Daily Mail or something like that.
It's always the Daily
Yeah,
Mail.
they said something about Rashford spending millions on 5 mansions or something, and they made it out like he was doing it off the back of all this charity work and shit. And he's messaged them saying, to be able to do what I want to do, or to be able to live the life that I want to live, I'm investing money in property. There's no problem with that, and there isn't a problem with that. But meanwhile, when Harry Maguire got arrested in Mykonos, the Mail Online said, and I quote in a tweet, Harry Maguire is everything Man United wanted in a captain, so his arrest in Mykonos has come as a huge shock. As a United fan, and someone who can speak for a lot of United fans out there, Harry Maguire is not what we wanted in a captain. And it was a huge surprise about his arrest, sure, but like, you know,
so again, it's back to things of one guy was literally arrested for breaking the law, and it was never really attacked massively in the media, whereas the other person had spent the money that he'd earned on securing his future, which, if you look back at footballers, they typically have a very high risk of, yes, they earn a lot of money, but they're also very good at not being very sensible with that money.
Yeah.
And he was trying to secure his future for himself and his family, yet he's being portrayed as a bad guy.
Yeah.
And the person who literally got arrested and broke the law doesn't.
I have a big one as well, also pertaining to Harry Maguire. Looking at a tweet back in August, some Twitter user called Ryan Conway stated that the Guardian wrote an article about Raheem Sterling and Joe Gomez situation, where they had like a bit of a on the pitch problem, and they said in the article that Sterling should have known better and behaved better, which is fair enough. And he said, you know, that's a fair observation. But then they've written an article that says, how did model professional Harry Maguire end up in custody in Greece? So is Sterling not a modern professional because he's got a gun tattoo on his leg? Is he not a model professional because he's black or mixed or whatever he
They do seem to like to pick a certain few people that they just seem to target for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Any little thing they can, they'll make a big thing out of it, and it's only a select few.
Yeah,
and it's weird of what of those few people, and it's also weird. It always seems to be the younger ones. It's the up and coming ones.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about the younger ones, because it's mostly them.
It's mainly the younger thing, and it's a select few of them that they pick up. Now, it might just be a coincidence that the ones they're able to find information about are these young black players. It may be a coincidence, because it's possible it is, but it's very suspicious that the quantity that the ratio of how many people there are, it doesn't add up, and just the words that are used, the way they're portrayed, and it's just a case of why. That's what we really want to know, is that if it's not racism, why then attacking these few people? It's almost as if they want English players to fail.
And that's ultimately what we're here to talk about, isn't it? Why do they want this? We'll never get that answer. But
it's like they want to set them up for failure before they've even begun, by putting this added pressure on them.
That's how they make their money, isn't it? Cause the controversy. Cause the controversy, and get people to click on the site, and get people to complain, and get more people to click on the site to complain. They don't care what you say about the website or about the article. They just want your views. because that's where they make their
They
money.
want the click. They want the clicks. And a headline like that, this big headline going, "All this controversy," it gets the clicks. And the thing is,
I've got another
people
Raheem
fall
Sterling
for it.
one. Go on.
People fall for it all the time. I think that's the main thing that people take with it is the newspapers. You know who they are. It's the Sun. It's the Daily Mail. It's
the
the ones like
tabloids,
that.
the filthy tabloids.
If you see the article, don't click on them. If you see it on a newspaper, don't buy the newspaper. Don't feed into them, because the attention is what they want. The attention is why they keep doing it, because they make money from it.
Exactly. There's another Mail Online article here that's headlined, "That's a lot of sterling. £180,000 a week England flop." England flop, might I remind you. "Raheem shows off blinging house he bought for his mum, complete with jewel-encrusted bathroom, hours after flying home in disgrace from Euro 2016. Why just him? Why is he being singled out? Is he a flop? He's not played at the top of his game, no.
But neither is the rest of that team. And the rest of that team probably have also bought expensive houses, not only for themselves, but for the people in their family.
Exactly. Why is
this isn't an isolated incident. These aren't the only people doing it. All of these footballers are doing it, but only a few of them are getting picked up on it.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Like, is another one as well. Going back to Phil Foden. Manchester City starlet Phil Foden buys new £2 million home for his mum. That's the headline from the Daily Mail.
So there's nothing negative at all there.
Yeah.
This nice young boy buying something for his mum.
Yeah.
It's you shouldn't laugh, because it's a serious issue.
No, it's funny to laugh at how dumb it is.
So it's so dumb, and for anybody who has a brain cell, it's so clear of what they're doing. It's so obvious, but yet there's still people that will deny it and will defend them and still go after these people, like these players. And the worst thing is that you have people out there that think that just because they earn these ridiculous sums of money, which they are, we're not disputing that at all, that they should be invincible and that they should be able to take a lot more than anybody else when they can't. They're still human, and they, again, this might be a bit controversial because yes, obviously they signed their contracts for that, but they don't ask, or football players never asked to be paid that much money.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's the nature of the business. Is it because the teams want the best players? As soon as the first players were being paid, it was always going to end this way, because some team would come in and go, well, to get you, we're going to have to offer you more. And I don't care what anybody says. If you are offered that much money and that's put in front of you, why would you turn it down? Why would you say no? Because you can sit there and you know that you're in then a position that you can secure yourself and the people around you forever.
Yeah.
They could literally spend a month, and they could live for so long on that money that if somebody offers you that chance, why wouldn't you take it?
Exactly.
And people just seem to argue with them, going, "Oh, we earn this much money, you shouldn't." It's like, yeah, they shouldn't. People shouldn't earn that much money, but you can't sit and tell me that if someone telling you, "I'm going to pay you 150 grand a week to your job," that you're going to turn and say no and go, "No, I don't deserve it, so I'm not going to."
No, Sean, I deserve a fiver. I want a fiver. Put your money away. I don't want the £100,000.
It's ridiculous. This is the mindset people get into where they try and attack them and they try and bring up anything. And
people just have nothing better to do, Sean.
If you were in their position, you would do the same thing.
Well, we're not going to go on and read out every single article ever about it. If you want to have a look online, but I'll give two more examples regarding Raheem Sterling, and they're both the Sun. From troubled youth to 100k a week, the life of footy idiot Raheem Sterling, and love rat Raheem Sterling proposes to long-suffering girlfriend Paige Million, I don't know how to say her name, but both of those, right? If you had any other player any other white player in that situation, you probably wouldn't be getting that, would you? And see, that's the difference. We're not calling anyone out, saying they're racist, blah blah blah. But there is some motivation behind it, and the motivation is to cause as much controversy as possible to get the clicks, to get the money. They don't give a fuck, as the Sun has proven time and time again, not just in tabloid celebrity media, but in football, with, you know, all this stuff. Hillsborough, I'm sure as well. All of that stuff. They're tabloids are a stain. They're a stain on society, and we'll never truly get rid of them. But yeah, football. People, but the media hate English footballers. Anything else to say, Shaun?
I don't think so. Just what we said earlier. Just if you see the articles, don't click on them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy the newspapers. Don't feed into it, because the problem will never go away, and it needs to, because it's going to get to the point where we're going to lose someone over stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's going to get to a point where either it's too much for somebody, or they're going to pick on somebody who isn't as mentally strong as the ones who've had it before.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to the whole, oh, it's so bad, it's so sad that this happened, it should never happen, and then we'll go back in the cycle again, and it'll happen again, and people forget about it in a couple of weeks. So just if you see that, just don't feed into it.
Mm-hmm. It happens too often, and too many people, even outside of football, Twitter as well, social media. You know, it's a terrible place to sit there and, as any sort of person with a platform, be bombarded with all this hate, all of this, you know, terrible news against you, and a lot of people can't take it. And you know, the only way to stop that is by stop clicking on the articles, stop acknowledging all of these dumb fucking headlines, and just let them rot. Tabloids are dying out anyway, so but they'll never truly go. That's what the internet's brought us. But let's just hope this coming year, we don't get completely screwed over by the media in our next football tournament as well, because we'd like to win something. And it's not just that. We'd like these footballers to actually have careers and develop well without being bombarded with all this hate and feeling like they're not good enough to be in these squads, because a lot of people do get that, and I'm sure it knocked people like Raheem Sterling's confidence and stuff, and people wonder why he wasn't playing at the top of his game. But anyway,
so they just have this extra pressure because they know if they don't perform well, they're going to get attacked, and it's just going to be more than just oh, you didn't play well. It goes further than that. So there's just added pressure, which just isn't needed.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about done with this podcast. We've gone into some heavy territory here, calling people out for racism. You know, calling Boris Johnson a fat neek at the start of the podcast. You can't.
Which he is. He's a fat neek.
He is a fat neek. But yeah, this will be coming out in a few weeks' time from when we're recording this on the 19th of November. Not that you need to.
Who knows? There may be some more articles in the meantime that we haven't spoke about that may be more prevalent when this comes out. But so that's why if they have come out, we haven't mentioned anything. That's why.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, hopefully, well, you would have already seen the other two podcasts before this anyway. We may be taking a short break after this, depending on how busy either of us are, but we'll see how that turns out. Probably not. We might be back on. Well, we won't be off schedule. We might be on normal time, but we'll see. So for now, like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever you need to do. Tweet the Sun telling them to fuck off. Tweet the Daily Mail, same thing.
No, don't tweet. Just ignore them. Block them.
Block them, and tweet Boris Johnson calling him a fat neek. That's all you
Yeah,
need
you
to
can
say.
do that.
Yeah.
You can do that. Tweet boycott Clear Fat League. But block the newspaper site so you don't even see them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you tweet them, you're still giving them the attention.
Yeah, you know what? That's a fair point. Fuck the Sun. That's all we have to say.